Some say the Unicorn's the most powerful Gundam, others say the 00 Quanta, but we all know that deep down inside, Crossbone Gundam is not going to get animated. How's it going, guys? It is Plastic Disasta. I hope you like that little skit. It's based off of that Gundam meme that was well known a while ago. And this is the last episode of Heroes Month. Boy, what a month I've been through. You could say it's a perfect excuse for me to go through my backlog to review. And today we are going to look at the high-grade Correct Century Turn A Gundam. In my previous videos, I did say that I am technically breaking the rules because Turn A Gundam is both a Universal Century and an alternate universe series. It is a perfect opportunity how the Correct Century came to be, and how the Correct Century came to be. 4 of the timelines merge, and that would be the Universal Century, Future Century, After Colony, and After War. And once again, they all merged together and became the Correct Century. And fun fact, that's just a way of Tomino saying he's okay with alternate universe Gundam series. Keep in mind, this is during the late 90s when they made the Turn A Gundam anime. And as for these guys, unfortunately, they haven't confirmed anything, so I guess they're not part of the Turn A party, I guess, because these 4 series were made after Turn A Gundam. I mean, I love you guys, but you're not on the list. And as for the backstory of the Gundam, well, it is OP as hell, and during the anime, it was found buried in the mountains after, what, a few thousand years? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm half right. Anyways, our Gundam is piloted by our loyal protagonist, Loran Sehak, and fun fact, he did dress up as a girl one time in the anime. Taking a look at the box art, we have the Turn A Gundam itself leading the army of Kapul's and not Zaku's, the Borjarnon, I hope I said it right. Taking a look at this side of the box, we have the Turn A Gundam doing some action poses, weapons, and details. Taking a look at this side of the box, we have the front and back shot of the Gundam and the CG render. Taking a look inside the box, we are greeted with 2 bags of runners and a manual. Yep, the snapping is back, guys. Take a look at the front of the manual. Here is what the Turn A Gundam looks like when it's all painted. Looks pretty nice. And here are the ornaments of the Gundam. You can look at this side of the manual. We saw a familiar pose right here, a new one, another familiar one, another familiar image, and details about the weapons. And at the bottom of the manual, it shows the Turn A Gundam recreating the scene from the anime, hanging, laundry, and more screenshots of the anime. And speaking of the anime, I recommend you guys watch it. And take a look at this side of the manual. I know I'm skipping to the end. It just shows putting the shield together and putting on the accessories and how to use the accessories. This side of the manual is telling us that we'll be using all the parts except for these leftover polycaps. And looking deep inside the manual, you guys start building the chest, the head, the arms, assembling the upper half, the feet, the legs, more legs, the waist, and finally putting it together. And take a look at the back of the manual, we see a familiar action pose, front and back shot of the Gundam, the close-ups, and the cool articulation it shows, CG render, and a color guide if you're planning on painting it. Starting off with runner A1 is going to be the white parts, and it's got some pretty nice detail on it. And looks like we have parts for the shoulders. I think those are parts for the legs, parts for the head, parts for the knees, and parts for the arm right up there. Can I just point out that there is a 1/144 scale of Loran Sehak right there on the waist part. That is a nice detail. Runner B is going to be more white parts. Looks like we have parts for the gun, the shield, parts for the jet. Runner C is going to be the frame parts. Looks like we have the parts for the shield and parts for the elbow joints and the knee joints, and options as well. Runner D1 is going to be blue parts, and they're all parts for the chest. Runner D2 is going to be the yellow parts. I believe these 2 are going to be part of the front skirts, and that part is going to be for the torso. Runner E1 is going to be the red parts. We have parts for the shield, the feet, These two is going to be for the waist or torso, and we have an eye piece right down there. Runner E2 is going to be the clear yellow piece, and that's going to go on the crotch. Beam saber effect parts, a large white polycap runner, and finally a small sticker sheet. I think the majority of them is not going to be a deal breaker. It's these 3 stickers are going to be a pain. Actually, let's make this 4. I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited to put this together, and I am really impressed on the amount of details for a cheap model kit. I mean, of course, it's a high grade. That model kit's like less than 20 bucks. I'm gonna build this kit right now, and I'll see you guys after the build. And here is the Turn A Gundam all put together, and I gotta say, the building experience was actually quite phenomenal. There are some areas that kind of blew my mind, especially the back and the legs, but I can't spoil anything at the moment. I'm just gonna give you a 360 look. And what else that kind of blew my mind is that usually in modern high grade kits, you get a ball joint shoulder, but it's not a ball joint, it's actually a peg. Isn't that kind of weird? But in a good way, at least. For those who are saying, oh, it's just like one of those 80s or 90s or maybe early 2000 kits. No, I promise you, it's not like that. And comparing this small kit to the anime, it's pretty much spot on, except for the head. I'm not sure if that's me. I think if it was one-to-one with the anime, the head should be slightly wider. Maybe it's just me nitpicking. And as for sticker placement goes, the eye stickers, of course, goes on the eyes. This little sticker goes right on the forehead. Small black curve sticker goes onto the forearms. The long black curve sticker goes on the thighs. And continue on the thighs. The black triangle goes right over here. And the little red circle goes right over here. And going down on the knees, number 2 and 3 should go right here. Make sure you pay attention which side it goes on. The red and black sticker goes onto this barrel of the gun, while 7 and 8 goes onto these spots of the gun. For seam lines, there's one going on the side of the head, one on the forearms, and right here, it could go as a detail, so you don't have to worry about that. There's also seam lines on the shin right here and on the ankle armor. And the last seam line is going to go across the gun. And as for out-of-box presentation, it looks fine for the most part. But once you put a little paint in it, it does make it pop out. And not just that, of course, you're going to have to panelline it, which I'm going to do right now. And here is the Turn A Gundam, all painted up, panelline and top coat, and I gotta say, I was blown away of how much surface detail it shows, and it still blows away even when I put minimal effort in this kit. Is this my new favorite kit? Well, let's find out at the end. Starting off with accessories, you have the beam rifle, and the handle is tucked in right in there. You're gonna have to pull it out with a toothpick, just like that. And if you notice, there is a hole on the handle, and there is a peg right in the hand, so it holds the gun securely. And if you want to extend the stock, you're going to have to do a little parts forming. So you're going to have to take out this one in with the new, and it has a handle on it. And that way you can have the Turn A Gundam hold it with 2 hands, but personally I preferred it to make it hold it with 1 hand. For hand options, of course, there are the weapon holding hands, and then you have 2 of the open palm hands. Next up, you have the shield, and one cool thing about the shield, there is a gray side underneath, and that is really amazing for a cheap high grade. And to put the shield in, it's just as easy as putting this tab into this hole. It could go on either arm, just like that. Next up, you have this new chest piece which fires its nuclear missiles, or if you see in the anime, it slides out, the Turn A catches it and throws it. And to swap the chest, you might want to pry it out with a toothpick again. And you put the new chest in just like that, and you're toast. Next up, you have this new back piece. Now, here's the thing. If you have the P Bandai set, you get the Moonlight Butterfly effect, but since this is a regular kit, this part is kind of useless. I feel like I just painted and top coated for no reason. And next up, you have the Core Fighter. Yes, I finally remembered the official name. So if you look under the Core Fighter, you might need a special adapter piece to make it fly on the action base stand, but other than that, it's still nice. Also, hear me out, Bandai. Please make the RG Turn A Gundam, where the core fighter is actually functional and attached to the crotch piece. Two beam saber effect parts, and the beam saber handles are located behind the shoulders. Since we're behind the shoulders, you get these two adapter pieces to attach the beam saber handles and store the gun and the shield. So make sure you pay attention where it goes, because it does go in a very specific way. To store the shield, you want to collapse these white parts first by pulling these out, just like this, by pulling outward, not sideways. And then you attach it to the right side. As for the gun, collapse the handle and you store it at this spot. Just like that. So here's how it looks with the weapon storage, and I do love use of weapon storage. Makes the kit nice and compact. So I'm going to take these weapons off and we're going to go to the articulation. The head is going to be on a double ball joint. You do get an arm rotation, but the shoulders hindered it. And speaking of the shoulders, this part can move forward and back, and this part right here can flap back and forth. The shoulder can swing in and out just a little bit. You don't get a waist swivel, but you get some sort of ab swivel, if you want to call it that. And it rocks forward just a little bit and rocks backward just a little bit. The arm can move out that much. There's a swivel right over here. Then at the elbow, slightly over 90 degrees, and I accidentally pop off the wrist, but you can tell that this is on a ball joint. Front skirt moves out that far, side skirts move out that far, and you don't get a back skirt. The leg can move out that far, move back that far, and the problem with this one that it keeps popping off too easily. Not a big deal, I can fix this. You do get a little hip swivel, limited thigh swivel, double bend at the knee, and check this out guys, this is my favorite part. Look at that. Once again, for a cheap high grade, this is impressive. The feet can move up that far, doesn't move back. You do get a toe bend, and upward bend, non-existent, and as for pivot, just barely. And moving on to the shoulders, the beam saber holder can rotate. So overall, the articulation is good, but not great. It is lacking in some areas, but you do get some good poses out of it. And speaking of poses, if you want to put in an action-based stand, it's a little cover right between the legs. All you gotta do is just pop up the cap and you will see a 3mm hole. Alright, so moving on to size comparisons, here he is right next to the standard Gundam. And as you can tell, the Turn A Gundam is bigger than the RX-72 because the Turn A stands at, I believe it was 20 meters tall. If you really want to make a Turn A somewhat of a giant, here he is right next to the F91. Now, since the high-grade correct century, Turn A Gundam is the only modern Turn A Gundam kit because the rest of them are 90s, so I basically don't have any other Turn A kits. So here he is right next to Optimus Prime and Godzilla. And that's it for the size comparison. Oh, wait. I think I'm forgetting something important. This is something I've always wanted to do. That's right guys, in Plastic Disasta history, I finally collected all the alternate universe protagonists. I know the God Gundam is in front and the review is about to Turn A Gundam, but I want to put the God Gundam in the front because that's what kickstarted the alternate universe. But if Sunrise decided to make another alternate universe Gundam series and Bandai makes a model kit out of it, you bet I'm gonna get it. Okay, so moving on to my final thoughts. Overall, it's a great kit. Now going back to the question I asked earlier, is this my new favorite kit? Well, it is definitely my top 5 favorite kits, I'll tell you that. Maybe I like it a little more than the high grade God Gundam, maybe. So let's recap what's so great about this. Great details, good articulation, and it's a pretty cheap kit, less than $20. I highly recommend this kit, even if you haven't seen the Turn A Gundam anime. Other than that, that's about it. And Heroes Month is already over. I can't believe I went through all of July. Went through all the protagonist mobile suits, Alternate Universe specifically, once again. And I gotta say, it was a really fun ride. Sure, there were some bumps on the road, but everything else went very smoothly. So you might be asking, are you gonna do another theme? Will there be a villains month? Well, I don't have a lot of villain kits on me right now, but there is another theme I want to do. Coming in this December, I am going to do an SD month. But before I do the SD month, this September I'm going to do a birds theme month. Starting off with the Kingdom Air Razor. Next up, we're going to do Rodan from Godzilla King of the Monsters. And for the finale, I'm going to do the RG Wing Gundam. So other than that, thank you for watching this video. Please consider subscribing if you made it this far. Also leave a comment and like the video as well. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. The fact that I went through 5 Gundam model kits and I need to take a little break for that. So let's go back to do something small and simple.